Okay, Sacrifice is come and gone. Now you see the title of my video. Good show with a good ending. Yeah. But I'm saying this now before I get into the show because there's a lot here and I'm hoping I don't miss anything. But if I do, just ask me below. But let's make this very clear. When you look at this show, even though it was good, it was heavily predictable. I'm sorry it was. This was a very predictable show. And the major problem I have right now is this. I know I'm not really someone that is agreed with all the time. I'm sure any of the more bigger podcasters for wrestling would not agree with what I think. But as someone who's been reviewing, well, I should say this. I've been watching TNA for 15 years, but I've been reviewing it for 13 years. And I'm one of the rare few that's been reviewing it consistently. Yeah, I've had a couple of times, maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times, out of a month where I got sick or I wasn't able to review because I couldn't see it. But I'm one of the rare few who still reviews TNA from the time of 2012 till now. Everyone else, if they start reviewing it now, they said they've always loved TNA. Well, they didn't review it as long as I have. No one has. Very rarely anyone has. And what few haven't been very consistent. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the only one who's been consistent. I know there's probably a few, like Fightful probably has been reviewing it as well. And I believe he's been doing it very consistently. I'm one of the few who has. When it was bad and when it was good, I was doing it. But let's make this very clear. This collaboration, making it clear. This collaboration doesn't mean anything until one of two things or both happens. One, TNA has a collaborated pay-per-view or PLE with... I know people are not going to agree with this, but NXT needs to do a collaborated PLE with TNA. It must happen. To make this collaboration really mean something for TNA, because as it stands right now, it's getting something, but it's not getting enough. 2, and this is the most important, which we were told over and over again that this could happen. No. Until we get one of these companies willing to drop one of their own titles for the other company, which I believe that TNA will probably drop one of their titles to NXT. Not NXT will drop it to TNA. I would be happy if they did, and I'll be fine if I'm wrong. But until one of them drops the title to the other, this doesn't really mean much. This collaboration feels very one-sided, and it's more NXT getting out of this than TNA. I don't care what anybody says. It is how it looks. It is not about, oh, they're making great money in their buys when it comes to the tickets. Oh, look what's going on with the apps and what's going on for all the shows they're doing. It means nothing until one of them drops a title to the other, which helps the other. And if they're not willing to do it, this collaboration is going to still be one-sided. But that doesn't mean this show was bad. I want to make this clear. Now, I want to say I did not see the kickoff, the countdown. I didn't see it. So I don't know what happened. But the first match, which was supposedly preemptive, was a spillover from the kickoff, which was Sammy going against Mason. And Warner basically were doing the street fight now. They were fighting before anything was done, and now they're having a street fight now. So we get this in the beginning of the show, and it was good. It wasn't one of the best street fights I've seen, but at least it was one of the more colorful ones that I can say I did enjoy. Having a staple gun fight, seeing who will staple who worst, was very good. But let's make it clear, there was no way one of them was not going to go for the gonads, and it was Sammy who went to the gonads against Warner. It was going to happen. Now, did I feel fine seeing Steph Delaney getting interjected into the match? Of course I'm fine with it. She throws powder in Sammy's face, which helps to end the match. Alright. But the question is, where are they going to go now? to be honest, the only place they can go next, well, there's two. One, Monsters Ball, or two, which I believe will be the best, a I Quit match. If you want to put over Warner, do an I Quit match with Sammy and make it about that. Because if Sammy says I quit to Warner, that would really help him. Now, do I believe they're going to do that? I don't know. Probably they would do a Monsters Ball match. I don't know if they do a First Blood match. That would be too easy. I truly do believe either a I Quit match or a Monsters Ball match would be the best option. Next, Tessa versus Lin Yang Yi. Let me give it to you like this. When I saw the match in Impact, seeing that she got the pin on Marsha, I did not agree with it. I still don't agree with it. Even with this match, I still don't agree with it. It's wrong. She shouldn't have got that pin within nearly, not even 2 to 3 months. I think it's like 2.5, near 3 months. It's been 3 months since she's been back, and barely 2 months since we actually seen any content from her in the ring or in the back. I just do not agree. This is too soon. She has not gone for the women in the roster. And this is the first match, really, where we see a Tessa Blanchard show what she can do. Now, was it a bad match? No, it wasn't. But did I believe that Lin Yang Li was going to win? No. She has not been really given much to work with since she started working with TNA. She hasn't. She looks great. She can work the ring. She can do a good match. But right now, they're not really doing anything with her. As tough and as dangerous as she is, she doesn't feel like she can get it done in the ring because of how they booked her. So as it stands right now, I just don't see anything with her until they're willing to give her a storyline where she can actually get over. Because as it stands right now, as a good knockout, that just seems he can't get it done in the clinch. It's bad for the company, to be honest. Not saying they don't need jobbers. That is what you get people from outside to do. But for the core women that are in the knockouts division, you need to build at least some of them up to make them be credible. And Lin Yang Li isn't one of them. And that's sad. They're not willing to bring in more jobbers from the outside to job for their women. Unless it's one of the big women like Tessa who won the match. I wasn't surprised. Third match, the 6-man tag. Now, this is a story that has been going on for a while. We got Wes and his crew versus the Rascals and Ace Austin. Here's the problem. Didn't we already settle this with Wes already? We're supposed to have settled it, but they dragged it out. And now we get the 6-man tag, which it is obvious there was no way Wes was going to win here. There wasn't. Even though the guys were bigger. His crew is bigger. I just didn't see it happening because there's just no way they're going to let it happen. The Rascals are too much over. Ace is too over, particularly what's going on with Chris Bay. And I wish to say again, I am glad that TNA is still willing to talk about Chris Bay. I'm glad about that. I loved it. And you probably already know, Chris Bay, at least a couple of weeks ago, started walking again. Still don't know if he can run or if he can jump, but he was able to. If you go to NoDQ.com, I believe the article's still up, and they showed a tweet or an X, him getting up off of a seat and walking, which, but boy, I'm happy for you. The Smooth Criminal, again, avoids death. He will take everything from you. He'll take your money, he'll take your girl, he'll take your kid, he'll take your car, and he will take your heart because he got up and he walked. That's the deal. But this match, I really didn't care that much about because I knew there was no way Wes was going to win this. If he won it, then what are we doing here? Really, what are we doing? Yes, the Rascals still have a feud with Wes, but then what is the end game to finish the feud? This has got to be it. Unless they're going to keep pulling this, and there's got to be something. What, they're going to deal with this in Slammiversary? Maybe, but it better be a match that's going to mean something. Now, when the match was over, and who was the one who got the pin? I can't remember who was the one that got the pin. I think it might have been Wentz. Yes, it was Wentz who got the pin on Wes because they got rid of the other two guys and they had all of them in the ring. Wes got Trey, Wentz, and Ace. They whooped that ass and eventually Wentz gets the pin. And the person that was most emotional was Trey. Trey was crying legitimately. And you can even see Ace, who's already getting his hand held so they can raise their hands over the head by Wentz. He puts his hand on to Trey and puts him like this, say, "You all right?" And Trey is so emotional, he pushes him off. And they had to cut away because Trey was that emotional in the match, which that's good to see that they're still going in character. But I kind of wish they did not do that. But it counts on where they're going to go with this story. Because by cutting away from Trey, you wonder, okay, does that mean Trey is going to turn on Ace? Is he going to do something? Because he shoves away Ace. Don't know yet. But they did all raise their hands, and they were just heavily emotional. And Tom and pretty much Matthew made it very clear that Trey was emotional. But we don't know what's going to be next. Moving on. The 2 out of... I was about to say 2 out of 3. But falls match. When I just realized, when I looked at my paper, I'm going 2 on 3. Handicap match for the Knockouts title. And I'm going like, Knockouts tag titles. And I'm going like, okay, this is when we finally get what we know what was going to happen. Guys, if you're like, why did Spitfire lose? There was a reason. And he might be in my face right now without his clothes on. And that is the concierge, the formerly known Iceman. It was only... it was only a matter of time that they had to do something to give them the titles. And they had to use the concierge to do it. I didn't say anything in my Impact review. But I think I did. But let's make this clear. There was no way this wasn't going to happen. It was only a matter of time because, let's be honest, there is no tag division for the Knockouts. None. And this is sad. The Knockouts tag division is only 2 teams. The Ashes and Spitfire. And I know you're going to say, well, there's going to be more teams. Who? Tell me. It's not going to be Savannah Evans with Tasha Steele. She's in the cabinet. What's going on with Rosemary? If Rosemary is doing what I think she's doing, she's trying to turn a Xia Brooks side to the dark side. So she can't do anything yet. So you only have 2 teams. 2. That's in TNA, and that's it. And this was going to happen. Was it funny seeing the concierge acting like a dick, messing with the women, kicking and shoving and just dancing all around like, really? Yes, it was stupid. But it was necessary to get both the Ashes over. And they won. But then, when it was over and the lights went down and we saw the meta girls show up, I'm going like, okay, this proves, it 100% proves, it 100% proves that the tag division in TNA for the women is 0. Because if you got to bring the meta girls in, and understand, Lash Legends does not need Miss Jackson. She is ready to go off on her own. She could actually leave NXT and go to the main roster because she's developed enough. But when you have to use the Meta Girls to give the Ashes their very first challengers, really, that 100% proves they got no division for the knockouts. And this is just sad. This is why I say they need to bring in more women. Not just to be in the tag division, but they need knockout jobbers. Knockout jobbers. I'll say it again. Knockout jobbers for the women and the tag division for the women. Until they do that, TNA is still acting just like they did when they were, and I'll say it again, Impact. They may have improved their production, but when they care about this, they want to be so fucking stingy, they don't bring in more women to do the job. You actually have to use women that are from NXT to do the job. When the only thing you got to do is just bring in a couple of women, pay them, and do some taping with them, as I've been saying for years. But let's move on. Next match, which was my favorite match, Santana versus a Mustafa Ali. This was the best match of the night for me personally. I'm saying it right now. I ain't going to change my mind. This was the best match. It had the best story, and it had damn good wrestling. Seeing Mustafa Ali do a 450, just forward 450, just to hit Santana's arm. He didn't hit him. He didn't land on his body. He just put his arm out to whack his right arm so he could not use his buck 50. Well done. This was a match easily that you could say could be a contender for the match of the year, because it was that damn good. It was. And I can say this to you. I am interested in seeing how far they're going to push Santana. Because look what happened. The Great Hands interfered, Tasha Steele interfered, and in the end, Ali won. And what did he do? He went over to someone, grabbed some liquor, some beer, put it in the ring, and walked away. And you can see Santana upset, and then I believe I got the shot, it's in my face, of him literally looking over at Ali, but you can see him, it's like he almost could look at the liquor at the same time. That is beautiful storytelling. That's what we need in TNA. I loved it. Now he's going to get another shot next week, and it's going to be just Ali and him, but now supposedly the Great Hands are barred along with Tasha from ringside. Don't know how that's going to go, but the question's not about how the match will go, but what are they going to do with Santana? There you go. Now, I didn't skip this match. I wanted to bring it out later. You got Kaz versus Macklin with Eric Young at ringside. It was the first match I can say where you wonder, is this being written correctly? Not because Macklin and Eric are not against one another, but also to each other. It's about what is going to be the catalyst to make either Macklin join the Northern Armory, or what is going to be the catalyst to break them up and fight. And the only person I could think of that can really do this, not Eric. Eric is not going to be the one that's going to do it. It's got to be someone that's got to make it work. And it feels like the best person to do that would be Kaz. And that would be for his Call Your Shot Cup. So he could actually put that on the line. But is that going to be good booking or not? This is what I'm thinking. I could be 100% wrong. But if you want to make Macklin either join Eric in the I wish this was the story. And maybe it is. Maybe it's not over with Kaz. Maybe Kaz will approach Eric Young and screw with him and the Northern Armory. And then Macklin will be involved when Kaz gets angry at Eric, and then they start messing with each other, and you see Macklin coming out and doing exactly that Eric did, because now that he's seen, probably will see the recording, and he will see that Eric did have his back, even though Eric nailed Kaz in the face with the brass knucks. It was not Eric's brass knucks, it was Kaz's brass knucks, and he just hit him with them. I'm wondering, will that Call Your Shot cup be on the line? I think that would be the best way to make it. Either Eric pulls Macklin in or completely breaks apart and they start butting heads and fighting one another. And that's what I'm thinking. Let's move on. Now, Core Jade versus Marsha Slamovich. Let's put this in perspective. Hearing them say this could make history when you get Ariana Grace at a commentary, and hearing them talking about this as history, I knew this wasn't going to be history, because obviously it's not going to change hands. They need to change hands. Either the Knockouts title needs to change hand with someone from NXT, or the women's title needs to change hand with with TNA, or any of the other titles. Until one of the titles from either company changes hands with the other company, this doesn't feel like a real collaboration. I'm sorry. Right now, if you're going to be honest, and you're being honest, comparing Impact Wrestling with AEW compared to TNA with NXT, we're here. Right here. It should be here, but it's here. The only difference right now is that one of the titles from any one of the companies must change hands with a wrestler from the other company. It has to happen. If that doesn't happen, this collaboration, even though it's been good, will never 100 benefit. 100. You will never see TNA ever get a very good advantage. It's not about them being as big as TKO WWE. It's not going to happen. But this is about seeing TNA get somewhere more than what it is. Right now, this is TNA. This is Impact Wrestling. Very little has happened. You can say, oh, dude, they're making more money. They made people do a fucking pay cut. And other people have left. Now, of course, Hammerstone left. Josh Alexander's left. More than a few people have left. And there's going to be possibly a few more people going to leave. Impact Wrestling. TNA. It should be here. It's here. And that's the truth. It's not just about if the ratings are good for TNA. The ratings, they've gone up. But they're not bigger than they were before. They've never reached beyond 200K. Not in a while. They haven't. Let's make this very clear. Their ratings are not beyond 200K. And people still go by ratings. And even though TNA's done well, their ratings have probably gone from nearly 70, 80,000 and 100,000 to maybe 150. But they still haven't cracked 200K. They have not. If they have, leave a link in the comments below to show me. If you say they've done better in ratings, show me where your information came from so I can see it and know it's true. Because as far as I know from the information I've seen, they have not cracked 200K. They haven't. They're coming up to at least 130, 140, even 150. That's for what I understand. They've gone up, but they've fluctuated. But they haven't broke 2K, 200K. They haven't broken it. This match, I didn't expect to be anything other than spotlighting Jade to see if she can really improve herself, which she did. Was it great wrestling? No. You can see Marsha's a better wrestler than Jade. But you can see the difference between Jade almost a year and a half ago compared to Jade now. Jade was here. She is here. She has improved. Is it a great improvement? She's still sloppy, but at least it is an improvement. So I am very happy about Jade. She has improved. Yeah, she also improved these. She also went from deet But taking away from that, she talks better. She does work better in the ring. Yes, her appearance with her chest being bigger because she did look like she got a boob job. That also goes with her character. And that's what she wanted. Can't take anything away from someone who wants to improve their body. But I didn't expect her to win. Next, ladder match. Guys, I'm worried about Jeff Hardy. I'm legitimately worried. Very worried. This was a good match until the point when they went to the... Look, I don't know if I got the shot. It should be in my face. You see Moose is on the table. Jeff nailed Moose. Well, before that, let's crank back a little bit. Actually, there's no image. Let's make this clear. Before Moose got on that table, Jeff was struggling with that chair. For some reason, he wanted to use that particular chair. It was bent up. He started kicking it to try and straighten it out. Then he hit Moose in the face when he threw it at him and hit him in the face and landed on the ground. Jeff tried to take his shirt off. He could not take it off. So he just decided to keep going with it. And when he decided to do a swanton onto Moose, he misjudged how far forward he was going to flip. When he flipped, his head had to be at least near the table or past the table. So when he flipped onto Moose, he would not be too close to the ring. He had to flip way farther, and he didn't do that. When he flipped and did his swanton, he was too close to the ring, and when he did it, here's the image. He landed, his neck was past the edge of the table where Moose was. And he not only broke the table with Moose, he looked like he whiplashed his neck forward. And then when it went back, you heard his head clink off the damn not table, but chair. You see him getting nervous. When I get nervous, I start botching bad. I am worried. I am hoping he doesn't have a concussion. I'm hoping he's all right. He was able to continue doing the match. And of course, Moose won. But I expected the Moose to win. I knew Moose was going to win. Look, Alicia was out there. She helped out. Yes, she did. But I expected Moose to win. I knew he was not going to job right after losing to Uma Femi. And I know one of my subscribers said, it's going to be great. I really think Moose should lose the title. No. Moose will not lose the title after missing an opportunity to win a damn championship in another company. No. He was not going to lose. I knew he wasn't going to lose. But this match made me very concerned about Matt's brother, Jeff. You see I'm mixing up. Oh. I hope he's all right. I just hope he's okay. Now, let's go to the match that should have been called a lockdown match or a Full Metal Mayhem match. But it was a steel cage match. A 10-man steel cage match where two would start and they would come in one at a time, 1 minute at a time. And to be honest, I truly believed this was a decent match, but I think it shouldn't have been here. I think they could have saved it for something else, to another show. And that's how I feel about it. Now, let me give it to you like this. Knowing full well that this match was going to do something. There had to be something that had to happen at the end of this match. Because when we had Elijah and Eddie started, and by the time it was over, Joe closed out the amount of people who came in. There had to be more. There was no way they could not just do something. I felt that, this is me, I thought Elijah was going to turn on Joe Henry. I thought by the time this match is over and they raise their hands, you're going to see people maybe leave the match. Leave the steel cage. And as they're leaving, Elijah was going to attack Joe. That's what I kind of thought. Because how they kept saying, well, you're not going to see me change. I'm not going to do it. You're not going to see me turn on you, Joe. And that's Elijah. He kept saying, I'm not going to turn on you. And they did talk like that during the match. That Elijah, he might turn on him. Sort of. They were not saying he will turn on him. Just Elijah was talking like that. So they went with it. But in this situation, I knew something had to happen. If this match just ended the way it did, and it was Matt who got the pin on JDC. He nailed JDC. He gave him a twist of fate on a steel chair. I believe I got that shot in my face. I'm not doing many shots, maybe one or two. But let's make this very clear. There had to be something. So when it was all said and done, and as everyone left the ring, there was only... When I saw Ryan messing with something, looked like he was doing steel, locking up the cage, I'm going like, what the hell is going on? Is he going to attack somebody? Is it going to be Joe? But it wasn't Joe. It was Matt. Matt was attacked by Nick. Nick attacked him, beat the crap out of him. Ryan beat the crap out of him. And then they started keeping everyone out of the ring. Everyone was out of the ring, and they could not get back in. And the person that could not come out, and the people were calling for him, was Jeff. Jeff couldn't come out. I'm wondering if Jeff might have been concussed because of what happened with the table, that chair, and Moose. Because he did not come out, as far as I could tell. I could have missed it, but as far as I can tell, he didn't come out. Nobody can get in the ring, and they beat the crap out of Matt by the time it was all said and done. So the way it looks like they shifted from Nick going after the World Championship again to Nick and Ryan trying to go after the Tag Championships. To be honest, I think that was probably the wisest thing to do. Because one of the major problems TNA has, and it has a major ass problem, they have the same people in the same positions all the damn time. Since the roster is so small, or worse, they use the same people over and over again, we get bored seeing the same people in the same positions. Seeing this at least will free up Santana trying to go more. You got Mustafa Ali can move up. Santana can move up. Macklin again can move up. You can even do something with seeing what they might do with Kaz and Eric Young in the main title picture, going to the main title picture. At least there's a change up with certain people in their positions. I am all right with the show. It was a good show and a good ending, giving something to the tag division that really doesn't have much at all. The Hardys don't really have anybody. They had to go up against Nathan Frazier and Fraxium. Oh, why did I say Fraxium? I hate Fraxium. Nathan Frazier and Axiom had to go outside to have a competition because they've dealt with the system so many times, and the helping hand is working in the cabinet. You don't need the same people over and over and over again. You need to change it up. So this is a change up, but it still shows a glaring weakness of TNA. They need more people, or better yet, they need fucking jobbers. Give us jobbers, TNA. Stop acting freaking stingy. It's bad enough that you gave them a pay cut. Can you not pay people to come in and just wrestle? But this is just me. Peace.